Folks, welcome in the sportsbookreview.com. It is Tuesday, and it's time to talk a little bit of Major League Baseball. 15 games on the card today. They said it couldn't be done. Well, they really didn't say that, but I'm saying it anyway. We are going to plow through this card and find those winners. Staying up late to catch some team totals. Fantastic stuff, but it's another day, another dollar as we get rolling today. You know what else they said couldn't be done? 85,800 subscribers here on YouTube. Thank you guys for tuning in, supporting the channel each and every way. I'm Donnie Seymour. He's Jason Radowitz along with Kyle Purviance. We don't have a lot of time to waste. You saw the preview video coming out here saying, I need this monster because I got to talk as fast as absolute possible today. Let's get right into it. Early game, 3:45 Eastern time, first pitch out west. 971, 972, Texas and San Francisco. Lyles on the mound versus Webb. Pinnacle opened up offshore, -145. Now sits at around a -140 number. FanDuel out of New Jersey, 154. No Posey in the lineup. Are we scared now, Jason? Are we scared?
No. Lyles, 2.45 home runs per 9 innings. That is 9 home runs in 7 games. That's at least 1 home run in every game that he's allowed in 7 starts so far this season. I love this lineup for the Giants. You still have other guys in the lineup that can definitely do some damage. Of course, some of the lefties in that lineup. Also, you have Wilmer Flores, who probably has a good matchup against Lyles, who hasn't really got going yet. So maybe Flores gets going here in this spot. Logan Webb, obviously not the best pitcher either. The Rangers could, of course, score some runs as well. But I do like the Giants to score over 4 runs. So I'm on the Giants over 4 team total at -124 via FanDuel. It's gone from 4.5 to 4 here and there. So I did get that 4, but of course we both need that 5 if you take the 4.5. And I do expect them to get 5 runs or more in this game.
I do expect that as well. 4.5 plus 110s are out there. And again, we always like to get the 3.5 or something lower. BetMGM around that -160. I don't love the game, but I do think I'm with Jason. San Francisco should be able to get the 5 runs here. But it does stink that Posey is out of the lineup today because just going over what he presented here, going against a right-handed pitcher, 347 ISO power number, 481 weighted on base average. So literally the best hitter they have on the team against righties will not play. They may be a pinch hitting situation later in the game. Your thoughts on this game, Kyle, between these two?
I'm pretty much on the same train that you guys are. It is a little bit of a bummer for me that Posey's out. You want those, right-handed bats, especially that are more effective against righties. But, I mean, the lefties in the Giants lineup should be able to get this done here. I do have Brandon Belt on my home run list with about 4 other guys. I do think he can get it done tonight. We've got advantages of 5, 10, 26, 25, 35, 8, and 14% here for the Giants today. Lyles, the better pitcher here. Logan Webb's not very good. I mean, let's just call it what it is. He's not very good. I do have a little bit of exposure to some Texas hitters in DFS. Most notably, if I could pull it up here, I like Nate Lowe, because Lowe left. Lowe left, so it's Nate Lowe. Lowe left. Nice 73% advantage here. Hitting in the 3-hole. I do like him as well. His bat's been pretty live, 12, 15, and 9 the last 3 starts. But no, I lean the Giants. I think the Giants can get to their team total here, and I like them in the full game as well. Especially Giants have a decent bullpen. The Rangers just don't. So even if this is a close game early, I think the Giants can pull ahead late as well.
Weather conditions not too bad on the West Coast. Typical, 60s, light wind blowing out the center field. That total is 8 at some outlets here. I do think they can get over it as well, but we're talking about San Francisco. Yesterday, if you thought they would get hits, you see how that game ended? Yes, it's just typical for San Francisco, a real pitcher's ballpark, chilly conditions. You get that marine layer out there on the West Coast, and the ball doesn't travel all that well. We'll see what happens today, but having said that, I do think San Francisco is the better side in this one, and if we're looking for team totals, somewhere around that 5 range, if you can get 4s with some juice, certainly that would be applicable here. Let's keep going. 953, 954. Back to the East Coast here. Philadelphia Phillies are going to run out Chase Anderson. Why? Because that's just what the Phillies do. Going up against Fedde, one of our favorite guys on the card. And how about this? Pinnacle opens up all short, -110 for the Washington Nationals. Fedde is on the mound, and he's up to 127, even 132 in some New Jersey outlets. 7. Look, I'm looking at the number. Excuse me, not 7. 9s are across the board in this one. Let's just say 4.5s or 4s for a team total for each side here. Why am I not automatically just betting both team totals on the overs? Because I don't know what I'm going to get out of these lineups here. But Juan Soto, Jason, back in the lineup now, looks like full-time for the Nationals. That should help. That team looks good on paper right now.
On paper, and of course, if you guys tailed me with the Nationals last week, we saw what they actually were, which was a team that couldn't score with runners in scoring position and all of that jazz. But Yeah, Anderson and Fedde, both these guys have started plenty of games. They haven't gone deep in any of the games, so you are looking at potential bullpens from maybe the fifth inning, even maybe the sixth inning on in this game as well. I would expect each team to at least score a couple runs against the starters, and then come out of the game. And then the bullpen let up a couple runs as well. The over 9 looks good, like Donnie said. So, yeah, I mean, you just don't know what to expect out of these offenses. Of course, having Soto back in the lineup, I do think that the Nationals probably have the better lineup. But then again, the Phillies probably have the more star potential there as well. So it's a close one. I think over 9, the best way to go. I won't pick a side because really, I think both these teams are basically even at this point.
Yeah, both lineups aren't very good, but on paper, and when I say on paper, not necessarily statistics from this year, I'm just talking about names. Because you look at the Nationals lineup here, Kyle. Turner, Harrison, Soto, Bell, Castro, and Schwarber, 1 through 6. Not bad at all. Phillies all the way through. McCutchen, Segura, Harper, Realmuto, Bohm, Gregorius, Hoskins in the 7 hole with Odubel Herrera in the 8 hole. That's the anticipated lineups today. They should hit. These two pitchers stink, but to anything here in the NL East, it seems like.
Exactly. So, and especially if you're going to take the Philly side, you're getting a plus 110 in the first 5. And the reason I would always do that with the Phillies is why, guys? We know why. That bullpen absolutely stinks. So they can have the lead after 5 innings and absolutely implode. On the other hand, Washington's actually been pretty solid, one of the top 10 bullpens in the league, 3.46 ERA, a full almost 2 runs better here, 1.5 runs better than Philadelphia. So I have a slight lean to the Phillies first 5 here, money line plus 110. I do like Bryce Harper's probably my favorite home run prop of the day. 4 of 11 lifetime off Fedde, 2 home runs. We've got advantages of 6, 8, 3, 8, 23, and 11% there. Both teams should be able to hit. Both these pitchers absolutely stink. When I see a game like this, it's not an official play. It's not something I'm racing to bet. But if I'm betting this game, I'm going to take a stab at that plus money in the first 5 and hope that early on in this game, the Phillies bats can get it done against an absolute cannon, Fedde. So, yeah, I guess I'll lean Phillies first 5 plus 110. But I do think the over here, I do think both teams should be able to score. And I think you'll see runs late from the Washington side off that Phillies bullpen.
Yeah, it's interesting because I almost have the opposite feel. Fedde, for once, is the much better pitcher than Anderson. It's ridiculous I'm saying that because Fedde is one of those guys where you see him, you just try to plug in the other team total. If this Phillies lineup was hitting, we would be all over the Phillies at around a 4 number as a team total on the road, 9 at bats. Not a great bullpen for the Nationals either. But when I look at this, I've seen way too much of Chase Anderson, and that's just the way I lean in this one. I agree with the line movement going higher. Let's keep going here. Oakland and Boston here up in the city of Boston, 963, 964. Bassett versus Eovaldi opened up at 130 offshore, now sits at 125. New Jersey outlets hovering around that 135 level, 8.5 across the board. Jason, we'll start with you first. Let's get some thoughts here on this game.
Yeah, I'm on the Red Sox minus 125 full game money line here. You look at these Athletics against righties. They love to walk. They're that's what starts their offense. It's the walking. You have Canna, Lowry, Olsen, Chapman, Murphy, Kemp. They're all really, really great at walking against righties. Well, look at Eovaldi. 1.85 walks per 9 innings. If he's able to limit the walks, the Athletics won't get on base and won't score the runs that they usually score against right-handed pitchers. And Eovaldi, he struggled against the Tigers in his last time out. It was bad. It was ugly. But that's not really like him. He has those blow-ups, but usually comes back and performs after those. Then you go to Bassett, on the other hand, going for the Athletics on the road. You'd be surprised, but he's allowed multiple runs in every single start this season. He's just bending. He's not breaking just yet. 2 runs here, 2 runs there, but he's allowing some runs here. In the Red Sox, you have that middle of the lineup, of course. We talked about this all the time. Verdugo, Martinez, Bogarts, Devers, all have really great numbers against righties and all can definitely do damage and probably be those 4 guys that create those 2 runs or more against Bassett. The Red Sox are one of the hottest teams in baseball so far, and so I expect the Red Sox to win this game. Minus 125 full game. It's an official play for me.
Yeah, you're right. It's a great point you bring up with the walks because Oakland, that money ball team, just get on base. And as long as you have traffic on base, eventually somebody is going to cash in. So I do like the premise there. Kyle, talking about Oakland and Boston, what are some thoughts here for you?
I think this game is really, really tough. I actually don't trust either side. I'm pissed at the Red Sox. I lost the first five. I had them yesterday. I have a runner on second, nobody out, and strike out 3 times against Pablo Lopez. So I'm pretty sure my dog can strike them out if Pablo Lopez is going to strike out 3 straight batters and you're not going to advance a damn runner from second to home with nobody out. So screw the damn Red Sox right now. But I think this game is pretty tough. I don't really like either lineup against the pitchers today. It kind of makes me nervous. I do have exposure to both pitchers in DFS. Eovaldi's had a 40 here a couple starts ago. The projected lineup for Oakland's only 1 for 27 lifetime off of him. 2 for 14 for Boston off of Bassett, and Jason's right. He's been bending but not breaking. It could be the breaking point here, but this game makes me nervous. Total stay away. If I had to lean, I would lean Boston, but very, very slightly.
Yeah, I hear you on that. By the way, question in the chat box quickly. I don't know if you have a quick thought on this. Nerfy opportunity from Dom the Don for you, Kyle. Baltimore versus the Mets or Cubs versus Indians. Do you have a preference on either one of those?
I like Baltimore versus the Mets. Means and Stroman, I think, can get out of that first inning. That when we get to that game, that was going to be a nerfy spot I talked about. So I really like that for a no-runs first inning today.
Yeah, we're going to get to every game here, speed through those, but it's just so interesting. Like you have John Means and Marcus Stroman in a 6.5, and I'm saying, is this a 3-inning game or what is this? Like 6.5 for these two? Is this Cy Young versus Cy Young? It's unbelievable where we're getting to now in the dead ball eras, like they call it in Major League Baseball. Let's get to some best bets on the Major League Baseball board before we kick it around and get to most of these games. I had about 6 games circled on the card. Don't have a best bet today, but I do have some spots that I do think are decent. San Francisco's team total I think is decent. Cincinnati's team total is decent. Also Toronto's team total versus the Atlanta Braves. The only issues we have in this game is, are we going to get a completed game? And you also might get some helter-skelter when you're trying to fade a certain pitcher and he's knocked out of the game because of a 15 or 20-minute rain delay. That could hamper that as well. Chicago White Sox team total I think is okay. San Diego would have been a great play for me, but I'm not going to bet a baseball game that's going to be played at 37 degrees with windy and some rain in the forecast. That's ridiculous. Jason, talk to me on what you got here, best bets and bankers today.
It kind of feels like March Madness for me. I'm on the Giants over 4 team total. Minus 124. That game, again, is at 345. So we got that to start off the entire day in an hour. And then we're going to the Red Sox, again, minus 125 in the full game. Don't need to talk about that. Just did. That game's at 7 o'clock. Then my final bet of the day, it's at 10 o'clock. It's the Mariners plus 220. Full game, 10 o'clock game. So we're on the Mariners plus 220. And I know Kyle will talk about this as well. These Dodgers, they just don't hit lefties the way that they hit righties. Kikuchi on the mound for Seattle. He's went 7 innings the last 2 starts so far. He's looked pretty good. Did go up against Means, who got that no-hitter. But he looked good in that game against the Orioles in that one. So, I'm on the Mariners. Why not take the long shot chance? Plus 220, the full game. Get that underdog, get that upset with the lefty on the mound against the Dodgers.
I like it. Being up late tonight, enjoying that very much. Before we get around to some of these games, Kyle, best bets and bankers that you might be looking at today. And also keep in mind, a little bit later in the week, we're going to have a best bets and bankers section like we're talking about right now, but also some interesting doings here if you like a value menu across the fast food market. So keep an eye on that. But go ahead, Kyle. What do you got today?
Frosties and fries galore.
Oh, yes.
I love it. And I got to say, I do like that long shot underdog against the lefties there. I like to call him way down yonder in the Chattahoochee because Kikuchi, I just like to give players nicknames in their song. I just love it. But for me, one of my favorite bets today, we saw the Reds smash yesterday. I like their team total over 3.5 minus 130 today. All 8 hitters have an advantage. 56, 13, 37, 11, 15, 46, 70, and 11 today against Brubaker. I think they get that 3.5 total, and I think they get it relatively easily. And even if Brubaker pitches well, you get that Pirates bullpen, so we'll be just fine there. And listen, the other one I really like today, I'm going to take a full game. Normally I like the first 5s, but they're going against the Tigers, the worst bullpen in the major leagues. And I know the Royals have lost 8 straight games, but what we're getting a minus 123 offshore, minus 120, minus 121, 125, right in that range. Full game for the Royals. I think they get it done tonight. They have absolutely smashed Boyd, a huge sample size here, off of Boyd. 65 of 194. Whit Merrifield bats 490 lifetime, 25 of 51 lifetime off of Boyd. I think the Royals get it done tonight and get that win. So I'll take the Royals full game minus 120-ish, and I'll take that Reds team total over 3.5 minus 130.
And if you like offense, do not tune into the Kansas City Royals Detroit Tigers game because when we talk about presenting lineups this year, brutal baseball, but that's really what it is. If your team hits 240, congratulations. You might as well have the best baseball team in America, because it seems like nobody can get any base hits at this point, which is why we value in-game live totals, where if there is a situation that presents itself where you think a team might finally score some runs, isn't that a better feeling than starting the inning with nobody on base? Come on now. Easy money out here as we go. Let's rip it around the Major League Baseball, because we got some really good games to hit. Jason, I'll start with you first. Chicago and also Cleveland. Alizé on the mound versus Bieber. 185 favorite here, up to 200, depending on your shopping markets for Cleveland. What are we looking at today between the Cubs and the Indians? Any thoughts? 7, again, is an over-under. Ridiculous.
You're looking at a lot of strikeouts from both sides, which will be fun if you like that. And you like batting averages that are way below 240, like Donnie said. But yeah, I think the Indians probably have the better lineup here. They will have a projected lineup, 6 lefties in the lineup: Ramirez, Rosario, Naylor. They all have some pop, and even Reyes can do some damage as well against righties. So I like the Indians here in this spot with Bieber on the mound. I think he turns it around. He hasn't been perfect. He hasn't been amazing, but he's going to be good enough in this game. So I look at the Indians minus 0.5 in the first 5 at minus 110. How many times do you see Bieber there at minus 110 in the first 5 innings?
Yeah. There you go. And also Cincinnati and Pittsburgh, Hoffman and Brubaker. Cincinnati absolutely laid the smackdown on Pittsburgh yesterday. Better lineup, obviously, each night for Cincinnati than Pittsburgh. But we're also looking at, how about this? Slight favorite here towards the Pirates at 126 after that offensive showing. Any thoughts on this game here, Kyle, from you?
Yeah, no, I like the Reds here. No, I will say this game has all the markings of an over. And I know we're talking about dead baseballs and no one can score any runs. But Hoffman's an absolute can, and guess what else is a can? That Reds bullpen is also a can. So I think both teams, even though this Pirates lineup, I mean, this is a who's who of absolute nobodies in baseball, but they should be able to get a couple runs across here. I expect the Reds to score. Like I said, I love that Reds team total. I talked about it. All 8 hitters have a 3-year weighted OPS advantage here and based on percentages over Brubaker. Pittsburgh, not so much, but again, you're going to get that Reds bullpen. So I do like the over in this game, but my favorite bet for this game is just take that Reds team total over 3.5. I think it's a cheap number at minus 130.
Sometimes I look at that and I see 3.5 on both sides, and I see the Pittsburgh Pirates the favorite, but I just look, not too much from last night where they put up double-digit runs, but I must be missing something here. I almost wanted to check if it was a doubleheader. Why is it 3.5 for the Reds? Because I do have that as a circled wager as well, with a chance for a little bit of McDonald's money, but that is an incredibly low number. Keep it moving down the list here. Kansas City and Detroit, as we just talked about, Jason. Just some quick thoughts on this game from your perspective. I don't like either one of these, but Kyle's right. Whit Merrifield is literally the only batter that makes any sense, maybe in the entire game.
Yeah, and this was the same look I had on April 24th. I'm with Kyle. I agree. I think the Royals obviously have really great numbers versus Boyd. The thing is, Boyd has changed a little bit this year so far, and that's the only thing that's kind of scaring me in this spot. And, of course, the entire public seems to be all over the Royals as well, which we all know what that means. But no, I completely agree. When the numbers all go to the Royals here, as Kyle said. So we'll see what happens. I wouldn't be surprised if the Tigers found a way to win as well. Their offense has been a little bit better, but I do know that Candelario just went to the IL, so that's another bat the Tigers have lost as well. So things are just getting a little bit harder for the Tigers, and the Royals should definitely be able to finish the job and finally get a win on the board.
Jeff Stofsky says that I missed Donnie's best bet. Don't have one today. I've had 19 banker bets so far here on the show, 13-6 overall. But if there's some money to be made, and we stress this each and every time, we put our Twitter handles up below our names for a reason. You guys know me. You know Kyle. You know Jason. If something is popping up here that we think is worth putting some money on, we're going to tweet that out. Same thing last night. Yep. Before the game, my whole advantage last night in 5 games was to try to get a team total in that Arizona versus Miami Marlins game. It happened late, and if you were following along, maybe you picked it up, won some money, but there are ridiculous depressed numbers, which again, as I put up, how about the Reds game we just talked about, Kyle, right? How would you take the 4th inning where the Reds have a team total of 2 with 6 at-bats left? I mean, it's ridiculous. Exactly. It probably is going to happen, right?
Yep, exactly. 100%. Makes total sense. Live betting in baseball, I'm telling you, you're missing out if you're not giving it a shot. If you're laying any substantial or worthwhile amount of money down betting on baseball and you're not doing it live, you are missing out and you're missing a big opportunity.
There is free money if you just watch the games, because a lot of times you say, you can't jump in and just watch from your phone. Like if you have the ticket and you have the ability like on DirecTV where all the games come up at once, you're going to find ridiculous numbers that I don't think the book even pays attention to at most times. And you say, then I'm going to get a 1 with the Marlins at plus 100 with 9 at bats to go against the bullpen of Arizona with the roof open at 90 degrees? Where the hell do I sign up? They almost scored in the 7th inning where they left runners on. The 8th inning, they get a 2-run blast. In the 9th inning, somebody stole a home run. Could have had 4 or 5 runs over the last 3 innings. And I'm looking at a 1, not minus 150, plus 100. Get out of town here. Let's keep moving here, Kyle. I'll stay with you here. Yankees, Tampa Bay Rays, Montgomery, Patino. We know the ball does not travel whatsoever down in the dome at the Trop. But also, who doesn't play well against the Yankees? Or excuse me, the Yankees play well against? Tampa Bay owns them. What are we looking at tonight? Patino, Montgomery, the left one now.
And it's true. So all that makes me scared, but then I look and I've got this is the Yankees' advantages here. 65%, 48%, 27, 32, 47, 52, and 14. I actually do have Stanton on my home run list. The Yankees should be able to get this done today. Bottom line. Now, look, Montgomery is absolute.
Thanks.
He's a can. But all the numbers, everything is telling me the Yankees get this done today. And I actually think this game could play to an over because I actually do like some of the Tampa Bay's bats today against the Yankees. It's just that ballpark, and it's the Rays. I hate the Rays. I hate Tampa Bay Rays games. I'm seeing an over 4.5 for the Yankees team total at plus money. I slightly lean that way. It does make me very, very nervous, and this might be a spot where I just wait a couple innings and maybe get a 2.5 or a 3. But all the numbers dictate they should absolutely dominate today.
I mean, if you like strikeouts, Tampa Bay is your team. That entire team is built on striking out and not scoring runs. So we'll see how it plays down. I won't be surprised. This is one of those games where, you say you like to take a team total live. Tampa Bay just scares the hell out of me taking a game because it seems like nobody has any power, nobody makes contact, and you're in a ballpark that isn't conducive, obviously, to the ball traveling at least into the seats. Amazing stuff in that. But you do look, Kyle, you're right. When you see Montgomery on the mound, it usually is an automatic fade the opposite side. But you got a really good bullpen for the Yankees. We'll see what happens down there at the Trop. Baltimore and the New York Mets here. Let's get some action here, Jason. Means the lefty versus Stroman, a 6.5. With a heavy favorite here, minus 165 in New Jersey for the Mets. This game screams Mets. Game live team total for me, Jason. Give me the Mets with 1 run through 5, and I am pressing that button repeatedly on the Mets. What do you say?
Yeah, this is more of like a fade. After you get a no-hitter, you tend to not pitch nearly as well as you did the last time. It just, as a Mets fan, this game just has a feel where the Mets are going to go out there and score against Means early in this game. And it's going to be like, this is such a Mets thing. The Mets, they score runs against Means. They can't score against some of the worst pitchers in baseball, but they find ways to hit against John Means. And I feel like that's going to happen today. As a Mets fan, it's a gut thing. Whatever the case might be, I would say the Mets minus 145 in the first 5 or the Mets minus 155 in the full game. I truly think the Mets will win this game outright and in the first 5 innings. Stroman's been good, gets a lot of ground balls, and really outside of maybe Mullins and Galvis, there's not much in that lineup that's been consistent for the Orioles. So I'd be on the Mets in this spot. I know the Orioles are a trendy little underdog. I'm not seeing that.
Here's what I'm worried about, though. When I like to press that button because I'm always suckered into a Mets play. And the Mets have been very good to me live in play this year because they're seemingly 1 run through 5 innings almost every night. But the fact that they have an estimated lineup of Kevin Pillar in the 4-hole tonight and also Albert Almora in the lineup, which means you have 2 unbelievable outfielders who field the ball and are horrendous at the plate, that gives me a little bit of a pause here. But again, 6.5 as a total. This isn't Kershaw versus Kershaw in 2015. I mean, let's talk about the pitchers that are at a 6.5 right now. Shows you the state of Major League Baseball, just trying to get base hits and move the runners along. But we'll keep moving here and move it along as well for us. Toronto and Atlanta, game I think has some decent value. But will we even get the game all the way through? 9.5 as a total for this game between Toronto and Atlanta. Are we going to get a big effort out of Ray? Or are we going to get a lot of walks out of Ray? The one thing I know out of Bryce Wilson, you ain't getting nothing out of him. Just a matter of if we can get the rain in, Kyle. What are we looking at here?
Yeah, I was hoping it was going to be Freed. That's who I first have when I woke up this morning. I was like,
He's
ooh,
tomorrow,
boy.
no.
Yeah, now he moved over to tomorrow, and I was like, man, I am just smashing this Toronto lineup. But I still actually like Toronto today. I do think there's some possibility for their team total. I like them first five and full game. Don't like either of these pitchers. I know Ray does have some upside, but when you look at the Atlanta bats, they profile pretty well as well. I mean, Acuna, Albies, Ozuna, Dansby Swanson, of course, Riley. They do profile pretty well. This game has an over feel to it, but again, not great weather. And it's tough now. You're getting more and more nervous taking these totals over 9 with the way that baseball has been going. I got a slight lean here to the Blue Jays. I think they can get over their team total.
Getting to a next game here, Jason, I'll bring you up on this one. St. Louis and Milwaukee. I mean, I don't know what happened. Last year, me and Jason would do every baseball show, and every single lineup was like 7+ batters out of 8. It was so much fun to do. And now every game I seem to pull up, it's like, well, I can see them hitting here, and maybe they can do something. Kim versus Peralta in this game. What are you looking at, Jason?
Yeah, we're looking at one pitcher that gets a lot of strikeouts and another one that really hasn't got many strikeouts throughout his career so far in the MLB. And Kim, this is a really tough one. I saw the Cardinals. They're getting plus money at plus 100. So I guess there's more value there. It's more of a pick-em game. So I think the Cardinals, I think their bats maybe slightly a little bit better, can score some runs. But either direction, I think this will probably be an under game, probably be low scoring, like Donnie said. And, whoever gets that last run ends up winning the game.
It really seems like it. And we're going to get to another game here as we take a look in the Windy City. Minnesota and the Chicago White Sox, 967, 968. Slight favorite at Pinnacle, -112 for Dylan Cease and the White Sox. But then as we take a look, some other places have them at a roughly pick 'em. Look at both of these sides in this one. 3.5 team totals on both sides with light juice. I look at the Chicago lineup. Should it hit? Yes, but on paper, it actually doesn't match up all that well. But Maeda has been a train wreck for a lot of part of the season. And we're looking at the 4 runs cashes this ticket. And I'm staring at it. Why? Because if the game was 72 degrees, I'm like, yo, Kyle, come on, man, we're in on this. But 40 degrees? Come on, guys. It's May 11th, 40 degrees.
It's ridiculous. Like, the groundhog needs to go away. See the shadow. I don't know what the damn rule is about that. See the shadow, don't see the shadow. But this winter has really started to piss me off. I'm over the damn weather in this country. I know there's nothing we can do about it, but I would slightly lean to the White Sox. And I like Cease, whatever the hell his damn name is. I'm getting a -110 in the first 5 money line. I would lean that way. I just think he's a little bit more reliable right now than Kent Maeda is. So, of course, we always prefer the White Sox versus lefties, but I'll take that -110 the first 5 for the White Sox.
Roof closed down in Houston once again. Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim Angels come to town with Ohtani on the mound versus McCullers, 152 to 165, depending on where you're shopping. About an 8.5 is a total here between the two. Yesterday scored 9 runs with a lot of traffic and a lot of runs early, but they sort of hit the skids after that. Quick look on this game from your perspective, Jason, between these two.
Yeah, I agree with the over 8.5. Ohtani, he'll get a lot of strikeouts, of course, but he'll also walk a lot of batters, and the merry-go-round goes, and he'll allow some runs as well in this game. And McCullers, he's been okay. He's been solid, 282 weighted OBA to lefties. ISO numbers are low. He's been pretty good, but I do think in that lineup, the Angels will score a couple runs against the Astros like they did kind of last night, getting those 5 runs and just fighting away. So I like the over 8.5. I think we'll see, double digits in this game. So if I had a lean, I'd take the over here.
Looks like next game here, I do have San Diego and Colorado. Some outlets not really reporting a starting pitcher here for the Rockies, but I'm showing Sensatella as an early look. But this is a tough one also, and Kyle, I bring you into this because who wants to play baseball in 41 degrees and rain? I don't know if they're going to get another game in Colorado. It's ridiculous, freezing cold. But if this game was normal conditions in May, 65 degrees or higher, I would think that the San Diego Padres would be able to lump up the Rockies. But the fact that it's so cold, it's really off. Even though I have it circled, it's really off my board.
Yeah, exactly. I just don't want to deal with that cold weather. It looks like the game will be played. If I'm betting aside here, I do like the Padres, especially if it's Sensatella. Actually, this lineup has smashed him when I pull up the numbers. 33 of 99 lifetime. He's really struggled in his last couple of his last start against the Padres. Obviously, the Padres have the Karate Kid, Danielson Lamet on the mound. We don't know how many innings we'll get out of him. He's been injured all year, came back, got hurt again. Slight lean to the Padres here, but overall a stay-away game for me. I just don't want to deal with these games in the 30s and 40s. I'll pass on those.
959, 960, Jason. You're looking at two aces on the mound. Well, according to their last 4 or 5 starts apiece, Lopez and Bumgarner, total is 8 across the board. Slight favorite to Arizona. Boy, we picked on Madison Bumgarner the first 3 starts of the season. After that, he's been dominant. Same thing with Lopez. So as I say to you people out here, and I'm an old man, it hurt me last night. I couldn't even watch my team total come in live on the Marlins because I was too tired to even stay up past 11:30 to see it happen. But I have to tell you tonight, if we're talking about depressed numbers where they both open up at a 3.5 or a 4, don't be surprised in this game if it's another 1-0 game after 4, and we're saying, hey, Bumgarner's got 78 pitches, he's only going to go another 2 innings, and we're looking at a 1 number live at a plus money. I might be back in on it. Jason, quick thoughts then on Lopez and Bumgarner, 2 aces on the mound for some reason.
Yeah, like you said, both pitchers have been really great the last 4 starts, under 4.5 in the first 5. Obviously looks like a great lean there. Not really high on either of these lineups. Lots of strikeouts in both lineups for the most part. So that's what you'll probably see in the first 5. Get that under 4.5 in the first 5. That's probably the best first 5 that you can get so far on this slate today.
Yep, roof is open is the only good thing, so that ball should travel. But the fact that not 2 great lineups here with 2 hot pitchers doesn't really match up all that well. Last game of the night we'll talk about, Kyle, is yours. 979, 980. Kikuchi and Buehler out on the West Coast. Heavy favorite Dodgers. Not playing well in the last 20 ball games. Do we snap back tonight against Seattle? Or does Kikuchi use that funky windup out here and say, hey, Dodgers still can't hit lefties?
Yeah, and that's it. I just don't bet the Dodgers when they're hitting against lefties. And look, they're going to beat some lefties, of course, but I think, and I like Buehler, he profiles really well against the Seattle lineup. It doesn't look good for Seattle's lineup either. So I might say under 3.5 runs in the first 5 innings. I know that's a low number, and that always scares me, and it's the Dodgers, but they just don't hit lefties well. So I do think the Mariners are live dogs tonight. You're getting a huge plus, 200 plus number on them. So I wouldn't mind a little sprinkle on the Mariners or a sprinkle on that under 3.5 runs minus 110 in the first 5 innings.
Yeah, it should be a lot of fun. About 250 people watching live here on a Tuesday with us. 45 thumbs up. Thank you for that. The show doesn't end when we click off and say, hey, we're going away for the night. We'll see you tomorrow, because we are all on Twitter here having a lot of fun watching these baseball games come in, cheering on it. If there's something important that pops up or a play we need to get out, follow us on Twitter. We'll certainly help you out with that, but a lot of fun on the show as usual as we clear the bases and get out of here on a Tuesday. McDonald's wagers, Chipotle wagers, Wendy's wagers. That segment's going to come up relatively quickly. I'm itching to get back a play of the day, but the one thing that us 3 will preach to you is just because there's 15 games on the card today, can you make some money? Absolutely. But if there's not one game that I'm saying, let's drop that hammer on just to say let's drop the hammer on, we'll get our chances at that, and that's the reason why we hit at such a good percentage, giving you the information to make your mind up to see if you want to play the wager, but also later in the game if there's an advantageous spot. We're going to be here to help you guys out. So thanks once again for tuning in and helping us out today, coming in the chat box and saying hello. We will do it again on Wednesday, the fastest 30 minutes in sports. I'm Donnie Seymour for Jason Radowitz and Kyle Purviance. We are sportsbookreview.com, and this was your Major League Baseball show for Tuesday. We'll be back tomorrow. Good luck on your wagers.